I remember finishing recording the Hot Fuzz video thinking, oh, I can't wait later today to sit down and watch this film. Happier days. Hello there, people of the universe. My name is MichSciFi, and welcome back to another movie review. Today we are reviewing 2012's Sinister. Found footage helps a true crime novelist realise how and why a family was murdered in his new home, though his discoveries put his entire family in the path of a supernatural entity. Now, like I just said in the opening, I was originally really excited to watch this film. I had heard about it back in 2012 when it came out, and I remember hearing that even though it got a sequel, it wasn't that good. It was a cliche jump scare horror. But come now, when I decided to watch it, I thought, no, come on, give it a chance. And to be fair, the director, Scott Derrickson, also made The Black Phone, which also starred Ethan Hawke, and that is one of the best psychological horrors I've watched in recent years. So I thought, well, same director, it's got to be worth a shot. But sadly, no. I was very disappointed in this film. But we are going to try and start with the positives, because there are some in this film. Starting off, the cinematography, that is probably the only part of this film that, if I watched Black Phone again, I would be like, yeah, I can see this is the same director, because there are some amazing shots. It's not a spoiler, but one of them is where there's a reflection in his glasses, and it is... There's multiple moments. One of the amazing cinematography moments is also privy to one of the best scares in the film. We'll talk about those more in depth in spoilers, but yeah, the cinematography is by far the greatest part of this film. And to be fair, the acting is brilliant. There's two moments of amazing acting that come to mind, and I'm going to try and talk about them without going into spoilers, but I will later clarify the moments exactly. But there's one where there's an argument going on between him and his wife, and then the other is when he's watching something quite disturbing and he reacts in a way where, well, any person with a conscience would. And then with the argument, I felt like it was a real argument between real people. So those moments were stellar. And there were some decent scares in this film, though. Thinking about it, I'm having trouble deciding how many of them were decent scares and how many of them were more just moments where, like I said in my Smile video, the bad kind of jump scare is the one where not only do you know it's coming and you're like, go on, do it, get it over, there it is, the big jump scare. But as well, the only reason it scares you is because the film goes silent. You're so used to that silence, and then when it does, it's more because it's a sudden loud noise that your ears are more like, do you mind? More than the fear parts of your brain are jumping. Like, does that make sense? It's more of a surprise loud noise than a moment of true fear. This movie has a lot of moments where it could have been really scary, but instead, despite the good odd scare, it does sadly rely on the cheap, I knew that was coming scares. And honestly, if I had, because the only reason I watched this is because the director made The Black Phone, that, like I said, was amazing. But if I watched this first, chances are I wouldn't give The Black Phone a chance. And as well, if I'd have watched this without knowing the director of The Black Phone made it, Scott Derrickson, if I'd have just watched Sinister and then you'd have told me, oh yeah, the guy who made The Black Phone made this, I would not have believed you. Much like Paranormal Activity, I had moments where I had to fight to not turn the movie off. The only reason I didn't is because, one, I wanted to watch it all start to finish so I could have a proper, full opinion for the review, but as well, I was watching it with Lucy and Callum, and I didn't want to be selfish. But it was tricky. It was hard to not be like, oh, can we turn this shit off? It was annoying because the story, there are some sort of unique ideas, halfway to being unique ideas with the story, but the problem is, by halfway through the film, it's not that it's predictable, but is predictable the right word? It's more you can see where the film's going. Literally, by the start of the third act, Callum guessed where the film was going to go, and he was 100% right. He nailed it straight on the head. In hindsight, I felt daft for not realising, but maybe that was because I had more faith in the film. Callum, to be fair, he really enjoyed it, and that's fair enough. Lucy thought it was alright, but me, I was really, really disappointed. Spoiler time. So as always, go to this timestamp if you want to avoid spoilers and go straight to my rating. So as we're getting spoilers, I want to start off by going back to what I was saying about my favourite moments of the acting. With the argument, it's where him and his wife, she's finally discovered that they're living in a murder house. Family was hung in the backyard, which, by the way, amazing visual. Holy shit, was that unsettling. And she's basically rightfully pissed. And like I said, I personally really felt like real people, and the husband is a really selfish character. Now, unlike Paranormal Activity and Smile, the male main character isn't just a generic arsehole. You can, to a degree, sympathise with Ethan Hawke's character's mindset of why he wants to not use common sense and just fucking move out before it's too late. By the time he does move out, it is too late, but that's not the point. And then the other moment of great acting is where he's watching the home movies, the murders of all the other families. He's watching it on the screen. You see a reflection in his glasses. Top tier cinematography, by the way. And he reacts like he moves his glasses up, and you can tell by such a simple movement reaction, you can, through his facial expressions, really feel how, like, fucked up what he's watching is, besides the fact that you know it is fucked up because it's fucked up. One other thing of the acting that I want to mention, I wanted to mention this in the non-spoiler, but I forgot, so sorry. The child acting, it's not that it's garbage, but it's not that good. It's nothing to write home about. It's pretty underwhelming, which is such a contrast, because in The Black Phone, the child acting in that is some of the greatest I've ever seen. Like, legitimately, the child actors in The Black Phone were better than some veteran actors in the industry. Seriously, they were fantastic. The pacing in this film, in my opinion, you could argue, maybe it's because my attention span, but for me, the pacing in this film was really, really bad. So, with all that in mind, I'm going to give The Black Phone 1.5 stars. It just barely is rated higher than Paranormal Activity 1, which I gave 1 star. If you want to be really specific, the 1.5 of this is 1.3.5, which is really, really confusing. The point is, while I do rate it above Paranormal Activity, if we're rating them side by side, Sinister is only slightly above, like, not by much. Yeah, if you guys have seen it, what do you think? If you want me to watch the sequel, let me know in the comments. I did watch the trailer, and there were some bits that made me think maybe this will be worth a watch, but not so many that I'd watch it unless you guys want me to watch it. Does that make sense? And as well, speaking of Paranormal Activity, I know I did get 1 or 2 comments asking me to watch the second one. I'll be honest, I really cannot be bothered. So I'll ask again here, if you guys want me to review Paranormal Activity 2, let me know in the comments, because I'm having such a hard time actually sitting down and watching it. It's not easy. I watched the first 5 minutes and I turned it off because I was like, fuck, this is going to be difficult. So I just instead did something else. But again, if you guys want me to watch it and review it, let me know. One last thing I want to say before we go. The ending. Not the ending of the story, but the ending of the film. Literally. It pans out of a cardboard box, and then the monster, which, by the way, we didn't see nearly as much as I fucking hoped. He just jumped out, and then it cut to black. And I was so fucking annoyed, because when the camera was pulling back, I knew it was going to do it. And it was so infuriating, because I know for a fact when that was put in, I don't know who put it in, but when it was put in, I know it was done for the benefit, or not benefit, of the people watching it in the cinema on the big screen with the big loudspeakers, which so it definitely would have caught their ears. The best scare in this film for me was where he was going around the house and we could see the dead kids. He couldn't, obviously. And there's one where he's like this. It's a mid-close-up or close-up, and the dead girl comes at him from out of the screen. He doesn't react. It was clearly meant for us. And to its credit, that was probably the best scare in the film. Oh, and as well, sorry, I forgot, fucking mind falling apart, sorry. The other great scare is when he's going around the house in that same set piece. Is set piece the right word? And he goes into his daughter's room to make sure she's okay. She is okay, but then, oh no, she's not. It cuts to her, pulls out, and then the dead girl is there looking at her. She's in her duvet, terrified, and the dead girl just goes, shh. And that's probably the best scare in this film, because it was a case of, she's fine. Oh God, no, she's not. If you guys have seen the film, let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts in a comment below. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. Be kind. Be good to one another. And I'll see you soon. Bye.
I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. I'm a living legend.